Have you ever wanted to learn a new language? Maybe you were inspired by a recent international trip, became obsessed with a foreign film or TV show, wanted to communicate better with a loved one, or just felt like developing a new skill. With Rosetta Stone, learning a new language is easier than you thought. Rosetta Stone has been a trusted expert for 30 years with millions of users and 25 languages offered, including Spanish, French, Japanese, Dutch, and more. Learning is immersive and designed for long-term retention, so you fully learn to speak, listen, and even think in that language. Don't put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. Listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/today. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/today.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Lan or Alana, and today's episode is all about embodying a new mindset, a better mindset, and how to be your best self this spring. We are quickly approaching this season of spring. It's March 11th when I'm recording this, so apologies for the late episode, but I really wanted to give you a good one, and I didn't have it in me before, so I always rather quality over quantity when it comes to the podcast. But anyways, we're going to be talking about our mindset, our habits, our routines, activities to do this spring, and just really how to show up as our highest, best, most healthiest self. That girl, hot girl energy, all those key, fun, trendy words. But seriously, to just feel the best, most truest, authentic version of yourself and the person that you've always aspired to be and that lifestyle, etc. So, a few housekeeping things before we get into our current faves and then the bulk of the episode. But Hot Girl Sweat with Othership is this Friday. For all those who have purchased tickets, thank you so much. I'm really excited to see all of you guys there. I'm so excited to get to hang out with you in the sauna and venture into the ice bath together. If you're unsure of what to wear, just wear a bathing suit. I like to wear my bathing suit with sweats on top and then bring a change of like underwear and a bra for afterwards. Water will be provided by Essentia. There'll also be little gift bags, as you guys know, with goodies from Dermalogica, Pureology, and House ID. Super excited for the event. If you weren't able to make this event or get tickets, I know it's on a Friday, so like work issues, but I will be having another exciting event at the end of April, so stay tuned for that. Okay, on to my current faves. I have so many like niche current faves right now. Some are products, some are just things. I'm trying to make my current faves less consumer based, but these are just like really niche things that I feel like no one ever talks about. And I've been using them and love them so much. They're so random. But the first one is the La Roche-Posay Thermal Spring Water Spray. I used to have the Evian one, like I had a little one back in the day, and I loved how it felt on my face, but I've been using the La Roche-Posay one. I have like a massive one. It's like the size of a hairspray. And after I wash my face and dry it, I'll spray this water on it again. Apparently it's like antioxidant and healing and soothing, whatever. It just feels really nice, especially since coming back from Mexico and now being in a drier climate again. It feels really nice, and then I just like carry on with the rest of my skincare. I don't like dry it off or anything. I just like spray it on, and then I'll go in with my Rhode glazing milk and then the rest of my routine. But it feels really nice, and I feel like my skin has been looking glowier, and I've been getting compliments on it, so I'm going to attribute it to that. I'm also really obsessed with the Fenty Skin Lip Mask. It's kind of like their version of the Laneige sleeping mask. I like the container. It's a little twist container, and then it comes out, and it just feels a lot more hygienic than the Laneige because I don't need to like dip my finger into it, which is really nice. But I love how it makes my lips look. I even use it for a night out. Like I'll put lip liner on and then that on before I head out, and I just think It makes your lips look so glossy. They feel so moisturized. I don't know. I really, really love it. I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about this product, but I love it. I've also been loving drugstore mascaras. Although I will say they are a pain to get off of my lashes, and I feel like I'm ripping my eyelashes out. So if you have any mascara focused makeup remover recommendations, like they're not even waterproof ones, but they're really hard to get off. Like the Maybelline Sky High mascara I was using before was really hard to get off, and now this L'Oreal one that I really like is hard to get off, but it looks amazing. And it's kind of like nice that it's hard to get off because I have an issue with my mascara like smudging onto my upper eyelids or falling onto my underneath my eyes, or like um what is it called? Flaking off like underneath. And the L'Oreal and the Maybelline one don't do this, but it's the L'Oreal Panorama mascara. It's part of their Voluminous line. They just did the campaign with Kendall Jenner. I'm sure you've seen it. It's supposed to make your eyes look bigger. I really like it. It's kind of similar to the Sky High mascara from Maybelline, but I would say it's more voluminous. It's still very lengthening. The brush is kind of similar, but it's tapered to help give like that cat eye effect. But I really, really love it. It's a great formula and I highly recommend. Been using it for about a week or so now, and I'm very happy with it. Also been in my breakfast sandwich era. On vacation, I was having eggs again for breakfast, and if you guys know, I had been limiting like how many eggs I was having just because I thought it was a trigger for my skin to break out. But I've been having eggs pretty much every day for the past 2 weeks, and my skin has never been clear, so I don't know, maybe it wasn't the eggs, maybe it was what I was cooking the eggs with, or maybe like I was having like 3 eggs a day a lot, so maybe that was too much, but like 1 or 2 eggs a day is fine. I don't really know. But nonetheless, really been loving breakfast sandwiches, just like an English muffin, egg, cheese, maybe a veggie sausage in there. If I'm looking to buy one from Forget Me Not in Toronto is so good, the veggie breakfast sandwich. But I got English muffins, eggs, cheddar cheese slices to make this at home because I can't keep buying it at Forget Me Not. And then I've also really been into reading at least like a chapter or essay or passage, whatever you want to call it, of Brianna Weiss's book, When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. I've really been into incorporating self-help books again and a lot of self-help podcasts. I'm sure you've seen. I post Mel Robbins a lot. I'm also like doing a lot of self-learning, self-discovery when it comes to my podcasts and what I'm reading. I feel like for so long, I was just so resistant to doing things like that and reading those things and listening to podcasts for so long. And that's okay. I think it goes in waves, but I feel like it's really just brought me back to life again. I feel like I almost lost myself for a bit in a way. Like I wasn't really challenging myself to learn and to grow as much as I was before. And that's okay. Life ebbs and flows, and I always talk about that. But I really have been loving challenging myself to look at myself from the outside in and to really analyze myself and be aware of self-sabotaging behaviors. Like when I read The Mountain Is You, that was really eye-opening to me. And just listening to Mel's podcast, it's really nice to get advice and hear perspective from someone who is in a different stage of life than you are and has been through maybe similar things to what you are going through now. So I really encourage you to find that, whether it's this podcast, whether it's also Brianna Weiss and Mel Robbins, or maybe it's someone else. I challenge you to listen to and read something, and we'll go into this a bit more in like the spring reset episode, but challenge yourself to be questioned, to question what you're doing in life right now and if it's actually serving you and being authentic with who you are and who you want to be. I feel a lot of the times we can numb ourselves and ignore how we're truly feeling, and when we're trying to just be whatever we think society wants us to be. But when we allow ourselves to really feel and work through those insecurities or those dark places within us, it allows us to become brighter, more vibrant, more confident, more self-sure individuals. And I think that's really what your 20s and life in general is about. So whether you're in your 20s or your 30s, or maybe you're younger or older, I challenge you to look outside of yourself, but also dig deep within yourself and be honest and be vulnerable and get comfortable with that. I don't know why, but I said this last week. Recently, whenever I'm recording, I feel like I'm like so like anxious and jittery. And maybe it's because I'm talking about things that I'm going through and are still very vulnerable parts to me, and it's still like sensitive because I'm working through those things. I hope my voice doesn't sound shaky to you guys. I mean, when I'm recording, I don't really hear it, but I definitely feel it in my chest. And I'm trying to just like take a deep breath and just like calm. Everything's okay. I don't know. I keep getting super anxious. I don't know if like anyone else feels this way. It almost feels like when you're giving a presentation in class or in front of your team at work or like whatever, and you just like feel like this anxiousness in your chest. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel right now. I don't know why I suddenly am experiencing that because I've literally been podcasting for 3 years at this point, and I would say I'm a pretty confident speaker. Maybe it's because it is those, what I said, like vulnerable things and things that I'm personally working through, and I'm sharing that on the internet with you guys. But hopefully, maybe it's just a thing I'm feeling. I don't know. I don't think you can hear it, but I can hear it. Or maybe I'm just bringing attention to it and now you're going to realize it. But I don't know. Maybe let me know in my DMs at Alana Bloomberg. But let's get into the bulk of the episode. We're going to start with mindset. You guys know whenever I talk on these resets, whether it's a summer, a fall, a winter, etc., we always start with the mindset because I think your mindset is really such a huge part of how we perceive the world and perceive ourselves and how we actually feel in what we're doing and in our bodies. So I know with spring coming, the all our mindset can definitely come, especially when it comes to building your summer body and all that content starts to populate back on socials. I want to remind you it is okay to have vanity focused goals, but it is also okay to be completely content with your body and where you are at. We already have summer bodies. No matter what size you are, what the number on the scale says, if you are bigger or smaller than the model that's in the bikini on the website, it doesn't matter. Your body is a vessel for you and your soul to enjoy life and to be existent on this earth. And a healthy body is a beautiful body. So just remember that. I've really been encouraging myself to be more spontaneous. I know I've been saying this for a long time, but be more spontaneous and be more open-minded. It's so easy to think you know exactly what you like or don't like and to immediately shut down anything new. And it's usually out of a place of being fearful of discomfort. But I think it's important to say yes and to be open to trying new things and be okay with going outside of your comfort zone. Because when you try those things and when you do those things, it might surprise you. And maybe you actually really like doing those things, or maybe that person surprises you, or maybe you were right and it doesn't really align with you and your energy and it just doesn't feel right. But at least you tried. I think we're so easy to get set in stone with what we know and are comfortable with. But it is important to try new things and be open-minded to new experiences and activities and people and to give things a fair shot, whatever you deem as a fair shot. And that could be one time, that could be a few, that could be many. Just be open-minded. It might surprise you. And it might just be the thing you were looking for. And that can be with anything. It can be with friendships. It can be within your career, with job opportunities, with travel opportunities, with family, with relationships, with dating. I don't know. Maybe you're like me and you think you have this perception of who your type is so nailed down. But maybe someone who fits outside of that type is actually your type. So be spontaneous, be open-minded, be open to trying new things, be okay with going outside of your comfort zone. Stay true to you. Show up authentically as yourself. This will filter out the people and the things that are not meant to be in your circle. Stop trying to be who you think your friends want you to be, who you think your coworkers want you to be, who you think your parents want you to be, who you think your partner or the person you're starting to date wants you to be, or that hypothetical person. Who the fuck cares if you fit into this box that you think society wants you to be in? You are not going to attract the things into your life if you are not showing up as your authentic self. And I'm telling you that the sooner you do this, the sooner you will feel more happy, confident, and actually feel fulfilled and supported in your everyday life. For so long, I tried to mold myself into what I thought my parents wanted me to be, what I thought I needed to do to fit in high school and university, in society, in the social circle that I was in. And I always felt misunderstood. I felt lonely. I felt isolated. It didn't benefit me in any sort of way. But the minute I stopped giving a fuck about other people's perceptions of me and whether or not what I was doing was acceptable, normal, cool, or maybe it was weird, I felt so much better. I felt so much more at ease. I felt so much more sure of myself because I was just being so confidently myself. And it's not easy. It's definitely a mind pattern that you have to break, and it will take time, and it can be scary. And maybe the people that are surrounding you right now will be confused by it and say, oh, that's so not you. Like, why are you doing that? But over time, it will be so worth it. And you will feel so less drained. You will feel more energized. And I really think that when we show up as our true, authentic self, the things that are meant to be in our life will be there and stay there. And the things that aren't will filter away and they'll disappear. I really am a believer that what's meant for you won't pass by you. And the energy we put out is the energy we attract. So stay true to you. Be present in the now. I really am an anxious girly, and I'm 100% certain that I'm not alone in that. It's really easy to get caught up in those should have and what if thoughts, to try to control every little thing and make it perfect, to always expect what's next, to anticipate what's next. But I have found so much calmness, so much clarity in letting go of those thoughts, letting go of the I should have done this, or what if this happens, or what if that happens, or maybe if I do this. I've started to just go with the flow of life. I've encouraged myself to just be so present in what I'm doing right now in this very moment. Right now in this very moment, I'm Alana. I'm sitting on a chair at my coffee table. I guess not my coffee table, but my dining table in my apartment, and I'm recording this podcast for you guys. I'm not thinking about what happened an hour ago. I'm not thinking about what might happen in the rest of the day. I'm just present in the now. Stop trying to control and anticipate every little thing. It is exhausting, and it takes you away from truly experiencing what is happening in your life at that very moment. If your thoughts are constantly in the past or future, how can you live in the now? Just think about it. How can you truly be aware of and take in everything that is happening in this current moment? Whether you're driving to work, or maybe you're at work, or maybe you're on a walk. What is around you? What is something so beautiful about what's around you? What's beautiful about right now? What is great about right now? We don't need to think about something we should have done in the past, whether it was last week, 5 years ago, in our childhood, whatever it may be. Just be present, take it day by day, whether it's with career, friendships, dating. Just take it day by day, be present in what you're currently doing in that moment, and just let go of those should have and what if thoughts. Again, it's easier said than done, but once you start to master the present of being in the now, you will be so thankful and you will feel so much more calm, so much clear-minded, so much more content and appreciative, and obviously present for everything that your life is. And that anxiety will no longer be a daily thing that's there. It will still happen. Anxiety happens and it's normal. It will no longer be this ever controlling thing over you and how you feel and the way you go about your life. So I really encourage you to take the moment and to challenge yourself to be present in the now. Every single time you feel like your mind starts to wander and you start to have these should have and what if thoughts about the past and future, just bring yourself back down to earth and encourage yourself to think about, okay, what am I doing in this moment? How do I feel in this exact moment? What is happening right in front of me? What can I see in front of me? What are 5 things that can ground me? I see a chair. I see my fridge. I see my water. I see my computer. I think that's 4. I see a plant. And that really just grounds you. I know it's so simple, but it really works. Routines. You know I love my routines. Specifically, my morning routine and my workout routine. You know I love them. Can't live without them. I'm all about consistency, whether it's my morning routine, my workout routine, other habits that I'm doing. Consistency is key, and it's no specific one thing, whatever consistent means to you. I love a stable and consistent morning routine, no matter what it is. And it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be as simple as getting up at the same time every day, drinking water, getting dressed, and moving. It doesn't need to be a meditation and a journaling and a reading this and doing that and gua shaing and all these things. It can be if you feel that really serves you, but really narrow down on what fills your cup and what energizes. I feel like my list of things to buy, to do, activities that involve spending money is never ending around the holidays, making the idea of investing and saving and thinking about your future to be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more overwhelming. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing for you, your kids, and your retirement, even during the holidays. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you. You don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start automatically investing your money in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. That could be $5 a day or even just your spare change. That's right, Acorns can round every purchase you make up to the dollar and automatically invest your spare change for you. And you can get bonus investments just for buying the stuff you need from the brands you love. I personally love Acorns. It's simplified the investment process, which can be overwhelming and intimidating, but it just makes it so simple, so easy, and something more accessible no matter how much money you have to invest. Head to acorns.com/Alana or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Alana. I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and Estro Control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today.
Run a restaurant and you learn pretty quick. The sound of a crisp fry starts way before the first bite. As delivery and to-go keeps business booming,
Order for pickup.
McCain's SureCrisp fries keep orders crispy.
Hey, delivery.
After the trip, the crispiness comes through. McCain's SureCrisp fries. Go the distance. See how far our fries can take your business at surecrisp.com/delivery.
Surprises you. So for me, it's counting down from 5 when my hatch goes off and getting the fuck out of bed, making that bed, getting dressed, looking at natural light, drinking water, moving for as little as 10 minutes a day, preferably getting outside if I can, especially because now it's getting warmer. And then Being consistent with my workout routine, again, no matter what it is. Do what feels best for you, not what social media is telling you is the best form of exercise. So whether it's Pilates or yoga or weightlifting or HIIT or running or walking, maybe you really enjoy Orange Theory, or maybe you really like Soul Cycle or spin in general, or maybe it's F45. Maybe it's a combination of a bunch of things. Like I love to cross train. I do Pilates, I weightlift, sometimes I do a HIIT class, like I run. Do what feels best for you and be consistent with it. Be consistent in moving your body. It is so much easier to stay active than to start becoming active. It is so much harder to start from ground zero than it is to just continue doing the habit that you're used to. And it doesn't have to be this 2-hour ordeal every single time. It can be 10 minutes. It can be 30 minutes. It can be 2 hours if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't make it any less. It doesn't make it any more. Just do what feels right for you and what energizes you and keeps you happy. People who work out release endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Literally couldn't have said it better from Legally Blonde. But do what feels best for you, not what social media is telling you to. I know that Pilates is really hot right now, but if you don't like Pilates, don't do it. You're not going to be consistent with it. If you really love a HIIT class, then do your fucking HIIT class. If you really like just walking and doing 12-3-30 or walking outside or walking by the beach, go do that. Do whatever you can to be as consistent as possible. Do the workouts that you enjoy the most. And maybe you don't love that workout, but it's the one you like the most. And I encourage you that if you are just starting to be more active, really try out a bunch of things. Give everything a fair shot. Use ClassPass. Maybe try different classes at the gym you're a member at and find what works for you. And it's okay if that changes. If you've been following me for a while, I've gone through a series of different types of workouts and different preferred methods of training and working out. What is going to serve you right now in this chapter of your life? And be consistent with it. Whether it's 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, really be consistent and also prioritize rest. Rest is just as important. You can have an active rest day, but you shouldn't be drilling yourself to the ground every single day. Your body needs time to recover. Recovery is almost more important than the exercise itself. And then for my last routine, my weekly reset. Keep your space clean. A clean space equals a clear and calm mind. I've said this so many times. I really do believe it and stand behind this. I like to do a weekly reset on Sundays. I clean my apartment. I wash my towels. I do my sheets. I do my laundry. I do a grocery shop. Have a list. Don't just walk into the grocery shop knowing nothing about what you want. Take advantage of deals. I know money can be tight right now. I know groceries can be expensive. So look at the deals that are going on in your grocery store. Don't buy random things and expect to somehow make meals. Think ahead. Think of your future self. What would they appreciate? Look on Pinterest. Look on Instagram. Look on TikTok. Get a cookbook, get a recipe book that you can write recipes down on. Plan ahead, think of your future self. It is possible to find recipes that you truly love, and cooking doesn't have to be complicated. This is also a message to myself, but just be consistent. Be consistent in keeping your space clean. Be consistent with your workout routine. Be consistent with your morning routine, also your night routine. Find what works for you. Just because the girl online or the guy online or whoever is posting the certain method and they're preaching by it, that may work for them. It may not work for you, and don't beat yourself up on that. Don't think that your routine or your habits or anything less because it doesn't look like theirs. It also doesn't have to be aesthetic. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just do what fills your cup up and makes you feel good. And when you're feeling low, when you're feeling down, it is really hard to do these things, but it is when you need it the most. Habits. Drinking water. It is so important for hydration. It will also help with your digestion, glowing skin. It is so important. Drink your water, whatever that amount is for you. Do your own research. I love water. I love adding electrolytes to my water when I've done intense exercise. You do not need to be having electrolytes all the time, but if you're going in a sauna or you're really in a hot climate or you're running or doing intensive exercise where you're sweating a lot, you do need to replenish those electrolytes. But if you're not, you really don't need it. 3 meals a day. Eat. Do not undereat. Fuel your body, give it nutrients. Try to make majority of your meals at home. I strive for 80% of my meals at home. We love an 80-20 moment over here, but eat. Not eating is not cool. Under eating is not cool. If you have fitness goals, you need to eat. You need protein, you need nutrients, you need your body to have energy and fuel to be in order to perform and show up as your best self. We don't restrict, we don't not eat, we don't starve ourselves over here, okay? Eating is good for you. Do not fear food. Food is good for you. Focus on how you feel. Try to prioritize whole foods when you can. Try to prioritize home-cooked meals. It's all about balance. A consistent sleep schedule. Be as consistent as possible with when you go to bed and wake up. I always say ideally 7 to 9 hours per sleep. Oh my God, I wrote per sleep at night. 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. However, new studies are now saying that females need 9 to 10 or something, or maybe it's 9 to 11. But do what works for you and feels best for you, and be honest with yourself, be realistic. Maybe we start with striving for 7 because currently we're only getting 5, and work up to that ideal sleep point. For me, it's around 8 hours. I feel like when I get more, I'm really exhausted, but just figure out what works best for you. Try to get most of your sleep before midnight. I find it always makes me feel more refreshed. Maybe this is a myth my mom told me to get myself to go to bed earlier when I was younger, but it definitely feels legit. Like, think about it. When you go to bed at, like, say 9 p.m. and you get those 8 hours, you feel so much more well rested than if, say, you go out and you go to bed at like 3 a.m. and you still get 8 hours, like, you still feel tired because you went to bed past midnight. I don't know. That's my logic. Maybe if someone knows a bit more about the scientific backing behind this, but I feel like I'm so much more rested and refreshed when I wake up when majority of my hours, or I get like a good bulk of hours before midnight. Right now, I'm very much into a 3-2-1 workout split. Kind of love this. I've been seeing a lot of talk about it on social media. Again, I know it's kind of a contradictive to what I said before about like finding out what works for you, but you can categorize whatever you want this strength training or Pilates or whatever to be. But I really do love the 3 strength training days, 2 Pilates days, and 1 HIIT/cardio day. I might end up doing more cardio because I'm starting to ideally run again. I keep saying that. I said I was going to start running in February and I still haven't, and it's almost mid-March. So we need to get on that because I do have half marathon training. It's only in the fall, but I do want to get on it. So I really love the 3-2-1 workout split. I love cross training. You guys know that I love to mix strength with Pilates or strength with running, kind of all 3. I love doing a reformer Pilates. I love doing a hot mat Pilates. I love just doing a regular mat Pilates. I love going to the gym and lifting weights. I love doing HIIT. I don't know. It's fun. It keeps it interesting. It keeps it fresh. And I feel like it's been the best kind of combination for my body. And I've definitely am seeing changes in my body. And I think it's so cool that, and Fernanda Ramirez was talking about this, I think it's so cool how, depending on like what form of exercise you are doing, your body composition can change so much. And even in terms of like your endurance and your stamina and your strength can vary so differently, and you can be better at doing different things based on what you're doing in training, which I think is so cool. The next habit of mine that I've honestly been doing for around like the last year now, but drinking less alcohol and also doing more sober activities, whether it's with friends, family, or in dating. I used to binge drink way too much, and that's okay. That was a period of my life, but looking back on photos of myself from a year ago, specifically my face, I was so swollen. Like, I had no cheekbones. My face was so round and puffy, and I struggle with inflammation so easily. And I honestly don't feel the need or desire to drink as much as I did back then anymore, because I learned that I don't have to clutch onto alcohol to be as confident or outgoing, bubbly, or have fun. I can do it without it. What I did was I chose a number of times per week that I would prefer to drink if I was going to drink. Sometimes it's a bit more, sometimes I don't drink at all, but personally on average, it's a maximum of 1 time a week for like a big night out where I'm taking shots and going to a bar and like really drinking. I don't really drink ever between Sunday to Thursday anymore, and I feel so much better. And trust me, no one is going to ask questions as to why you're not drinking or judge you or say anything. You can literally just like hold a glass of water or get soda with lime and maybe bitters or like sparkling water with lime. You also don't need to tell anyone or make a deal out of it that you're not drinking. No one will care that much. And if they do, if they're asking, why aren't you drinking, blah, 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 it's a projection of their insecurities and their relationship with alcohol onto you. It is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. And you just have to let it go. It's their issue to deal with. If they have an issue with your drinking, maybe you should reconsider whether or not you should be hanging around them so much. But you do you. You do not have to drink to have fun. If you want to drink, you can drink. This is just personally where I'm at in my life. I've also learned that I love doing sober activities with my friends or when I'm dating so much more. I feel like you get to know them so much more. You build better trust. It's more bonding, and it's nice to switch it up. You don't always have to just go to a bar, a club, or a restaurant and drink. Look on Eventbrite, see what's happening in your city. For the Toronto girls, I love the Friday paper on Instagram. I think they also have a newsletter, but I could be wrong. They're always sharing what's happening in the city each week, and I'm sure there's more of these things in different cities. I recently went to an event called Dinner with Strangers. It's a 20-person event hosted by Jess Jans. She's actually doing a tour and going to the West Coast. I know she's going to Vancouver. I'm not sure where else. But essentially, it's a dinner with 20 strangers. You're not allowed to talk about work, which I honestly really appreciated, and I want to apply that to the rest of my life more. I feel like we're so easy to clutch onto work as a way of breaking the ice and having conversation and starting it, but there are so many other facets to us in which we can connect and relate to one another and foster a deeper connection. But anyways, it was this event and you could buy a ticket. It was a dinner at the W Hotel in Toronto, and you weren't allowed to talk about work. When you walked in, you got a card. It's kind of like, we're not really strangers. So you're given a card and it's a question, and you can use that as an icebreaker to start conversation with other people. And then we sat at a dinner table. It was one long table, and the meal was served family style. And Jess would ask a question, and we'd all go around the table listening to everyone, sharing our answers. Ideally, you want to give a deeper response, but if it is more surface level, there's no judgment towards that. And I feel like it was a really great way to foster that deeper connection, to be vulnerable and to not just be so surface level with people. And you end up meeting so many people from different walks of life, different ages, different areas, and it's really cool. So there are things to do in your city that are sober activities. I mean, there was you could drink at this event. I had like one drink and then I stopped, but there are things to do in your city that are sober. You can go to a dance class. You can go to a pottery class. There are like so many different things, and there are so many different activities or things that are more exciting than just going to the same bar, the same restaurant, the same club every single weekend with your friends, or always just doing drinks or dinner on your dates. I think one thing I learned in recent situationship I had was you get to know a person so much more in doing activities with them, and you're able to see how they would fit into your life better by doing activities and doing things that you would normally do on a day-to-day basis than just always grabbing drinks, going for dinner, or just hooking up. So that's my little 2 cents. Take it with what you will. Spending time in silence. I heard JC and Chelsea talk a bit about this on What We Said, and I've also heard, I think it's Maddie Mayo. She talks about it on Okay Sis. I think it's now Okay Sister podcast. But get comfortable with yourself and your thoughts. Don't tune things out. Don't numb yourself with music, podcasts, scrolling on TikTok, Instagram. Encourage yourself to sit in the silence. Don't have TV playing. Don't have music, podcasts. Like, really just get comfortable with being in silence. Go on a silent walk. Hang out in your space without noise. Learn how to navigate those thoughts and feelings that come forward and gain comfort in your boredom. I feel like we have forgotten how to be bored and navigate it. Like, think about when you were a child. You had to just deal with your boredom and figure out how to get comfortable in it. If you were bored and you went to your parents, they were probably like, okay, go figure it out. We didn't have like this numbing of social media or podcasts or like overstimulation. Really encourage yourself to deal with your thoughts and feelings and to not just like throw them under the rug, whether it's through journaling or literally just like sitting on your couch and letting those thoughts come up to the surface. observe them and work through them if you need to, and then let them go. It is important to do things alone and to spend time in silence. And then the last habit, encourage self-learning and improvement. I touched on this at the beginning of the episode when I was talking about my current faves, but spend time each day either listening to a podcast episode or a nonfiction self-improvement book that encourages you to have a better mindset or to change your perspective or to teach yourself something about yourself or a topic. I like to listen to Mel Robbins a lot when I'm getting ready in the morning. You can also encourage yourself to be silent during that time, but choose things that really encourage you to think outside the box and change your perspective, especially when we are no longer in school. Think about the last time you did some self-learning or self-discovery outside of work, outside of your job. For the most of us, I would say that was a long time ago. But I really encourage you to listen to a podcast episode or read a chapter or two of a self-improvement book, whether it's this podcast, Mel Robbins, another podcast, whether it's Brianna Weiss, whether it's James Clear with Atomic Habits, like any book that you think resonates for you and where you're at or where you want to go in your life right now. I really encourage you to reintegrate the act of self-learning and self-improvement, whether it's something to do with yourself or maybe you want to learn more about a certain thing. Maybe it's about technology, maybe it's about culture, maybe it's about religion, maybe it's about politics, like whatever it is. I really encourage you to be curious and be open-minded and want to learn and challenge yourself and challenge your line of thought. You might be surprised how beneficial and how rewarding and how fulfilling doing that is, and the way it challenges your mind and how much it can add into other areas of your life. Activities. As the weather gets warmer, especially if you live in a colder climate like me, take advantage of getting outside, take advantage of the longer days, the more sunlight. Go for walks, hang out in the park, go for an outdoor run alone or with a friend, maybe join a run club, sit on a patio, do something outside, like really take advantage of getting outside and enjoying the nicer weather. Grab a book or a journal and head to a cafe with a friend or by yourself. Go on more solo dates. Get to know yourself and build confidence in your independence and by challenging yourself. Sit at a cafe alone, sit at a restaurant alone, like go for dinner alone, go for lunch alone, go to a bar alone, like bring your Kindle, bring your book. Really encourage yourself to do things alone. You get to know yourself better that way. You gain more independence and confidence in your ability to navigate through life by doing things alone and not having to rely on someone else or be aware of how they're enjoying it as well. Go to a workout class, go to an art class, go to a social event, spend time alone. I really encourage you to do that. You can also have a movie night with friends, cook a meal together, scrapbook, make candles, do something fun and cute together. Like I said, I feel like you get to know yourself, you get to know your friends, your partner, your family members when you do things outside of just going to a restaurant or a bar. I really encourage you this spring, this summer, the rest of 2024 to lean into doing things that are outside of your comfort zone and maybe are things that you haven't typically done in the past, and really lean into doing those activities and doing things sober, doing things alone, getting comfortable in silence, get comfortable in silence. It will really just like change how you feel in your own skin and change the fulfillment of your life. You will feel so much more fulfilled. You will feel so much better. I really encourage you to do this. Hope you liked this episode. If you did, I would love to see a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I really do love reading them. That's how you can help support the podcast. It means so much to me to hear you and your feedback, and also to see you tagging Morning Ray, that you're listening to it on Instagram or socials. It really, really means a lot. I know I say this every week, but it truly, truly means a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you who will be at the Other Ship Hot Girl Sweat event on Friday. And I love you guys so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.